So the glutes tie in from this side, the lats tie in from that side, and now you see we've got this chain of muscle that runs on a diagonal. So, well, why is that? How does that work? Think of when you run, even when we walk, but when you run or when you skate, you go opposite arm, opposite leg. So when I'm driving this arm forward, I'm lengthening here. When I'm driving this knee forward, I'm lengthening here. I'm stretching that chain. Then I'm going to contract those muscles. I'm going to capitalize on the elastic properties of the muscles and boom, generate a ton of power. So it's actually part of the reason too that when we want to rotate, from our butterfly or something, we kind of want to, use our arms sometimes to help, which we need to learn to control, because there's a way we want to use our arms, and then there's a way our body wants to use our arms to generate momentum. There's a way as a goalie you want to guide the movement with your hands and your head. But as our body, we want to try to do some funny things. Let's look at the front side now. So our pec major, which is going to integrate with the muscles of our upper arm. But let's look at our pec major. It ties into our abdominal muscles. And it comes down into the connective tissue, the abdominal retinaculum. That all comes down, so it involves the rectus abdominis, the oblique abdominals. And then it comes down into our pelvic bone. Sort of crosses at our pubic symphysis, and then there's a connective tissue attachment to one of our adductor muscles, a muscle called the adductor longus. So again, we have this crisscross pattern as we go. So it isn't just, I don't need a lot of upper body strength. We need strength in these chains, and we need to have strength through that entire chain, not just for performance, but also for injury reduction. So that's what we're going to look at. That's sort of our angle of upper body training, what we're going to look at today. So I hate to burst your bubble. I'm a little bubble burster from way back, but it's not going to be, I'm not saying, okay, yeah, so Maria said I need big, strong upper body. I'm going to do bench and biceps curls and tricep press down. Those are beach body workouts. And if you have what you do on your own time is your business. But what I want to give you today are some, a little bit more specific upper body exercises that can help you translate what you're doing in the gym to what you need to do on the ice. This one's just called a half groin oblique row. So I have my outstretched leg, my leg that has a stretch on my groin is facing towards the attachment point. So I've got some length here, I'm feeling a bit of a stretch here, a little bit of tension here as well. So you can see how I'm going to incorporate a chain of muscle that kind of comes from this stretched adductor through my abdominal obliques, and then into sort of my rhomboids, or the muscles of my mid-back. So I'm here, I'm extended out, I'm gonna row and rotate across a little bit. This elbow comes straight out, and I am rotating my torso a bit to put a little more length on this chain that incorporates my abdominal obliques and my adductors. So that's a half groin reach and row. And you would do, anywhere from 6 to 8 repetitions of those, using a fairly heavy resistance. This is going to be more of a big bulk strength exercise. Remember this is more about building strength in the chain, not so much about stamina and stability. So use a heavier resistance, one that you can do for 6 to 8 repetitions as a good starting point. So that you have good technique for all the repetitions, but the last couple are a bit of a challenge. For this one, I'm using heavy bands, so heavy resistance. I'm doing a tall kneeling chest press. So I'm tall in my hips, just like your goalie coach doesn't want you kind of sitting back on your heels when you're in the butterfly. I'm staying tall in my hips, and I'm almost getting a little bit of that forward projection, over the puck that you want to have. So I'm holding that. So I'm actually getting to use my abdominals. I'm getting to use my leg muscles to hold this position nice and strong as I'm exerting force with my upper body. So I'm learning to stay stable as I'm exerting that force. So not only do I feel it in my muscles that I'm using, in my pushing muscles, but I also actually feel it quite a bit here, and even more in my quadriceps, staying in that nice tall position. So those are a few of the more specific exercises that we use. Just to give you an example, with both of these, there are dozens and dozens of exercises we could use, but these are ones that are good for just a great general starting point. Don't forget about your basics. So really, I don't care so much how much resistance, and you can use a cable column or a resistance band, it makes no difference. But I'm not as interested in how many repetitions you can do, or how much resistance you can do on a tall kneeling chest press, until I can see that you can do, at least 10 perfect push-ups. And it seems like, oh gosh, push-ups, like, well, whatever, those are so basic. But it's amazing how many of you can't do proper push-ups. And when you think about it, it's a beautiful exercise. You need to have good shoulder strength and stability, nice strong arms, triceps, strong chest. You need to be able to stabilize your torso using your abdominals, and the same goes for stabilizing your hips using the front of your hips. You can't maintain a nice, straight line push-up position if you don't have torso stability and hip stability. So, if you are going to do some push-ups, make sure your hands are just a little wider than shoulder width. Your elbows don't flare way out to the side. They almost sweep back at about a 45-degree angle. And you should be able to come down and all the way up, or come down to touch a yoga block and all the way up, maintaining that nice stable position. The other one that we forget about sometimes is just a good old pull-up. And, pull-ups are hard for most of us, but you can use a super band to help. Let me show you how to set that up so that it's an exercise you can start incorporating, because, again, it gets you in that nice shoulder externally rotated position, definitely works that pulling chain, but also when you do pull-ups, if you haven't done them in a while, it's like, wow, I actually really feel that in my abdominals as well, because they have to work to keep your body stable as you pull. I'm going to head over to the power rack, and we'll set up the super band to do some pull-ups. So there are all kinds of resistances that you can use for the super band. When it comes to pull-ups, I like the very large ones, please. So I'm going to start with green here. So all you do is, it depends a little bit on the setup of your power rack, but on this one I can just loop it over the top like this, and then I pull it down. I'm going to stick my knee in there. Now, a pull-up is an overhand grip like this. A chin-up is an underhand grip like that, and they're different. A chin-up, you get to use your biceps a lot more. A pull-up, you need to use more your lats and your mid-back, so it's more challenging for you. So chin-ups are great too, but I like pull-ups that sort of get you in this externally rotated position if it feels okay on your shoulders. If this just doesn't feel good on your shoulders, then you need to find another option. But it's also typically a little wider grip. So overhand grip here, full hang, pulling up, squeezing your shoulder blades down as you go. So as I initiate this pull-up, I don't want to be shrugging my shoulders. I want to be thinking about pulling my shoulder blades down as I go. So there are some upper body training exercises that you can use. I hope I explained why it's important and how it kind of fits into your overall training plan. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Just leave them in the comments below, or email them to Hutch and Woody, and they'll pass them on to me, so we get ideas of what's really important to you in Gold Mag Premium members and what you want to know, because you're premium, you're primo. So I want to give you primo videos to help you win more games with fewer injuries. This is Maria. I will catch you next time.